An irate Billy demands answers from Jill, and Nikki undergoes a risky surgery. At Crimson Lights, Nick, Victoria, and Claire are worrying about Nikki's surgery when Noah and Sharon arrive. They get the news about Nikki's condition. Noah is shocked to hear about this only now. Nick urges him never to count his grandma out, but admits they're all feeling helpless. Holden joins them and asks after Nikki. They discuss how fast all of this happened. They are all trying to be positive, but Nick reminds them that no result is guaranteed. Victoria heads back to the hospital, leaving Noah and Sharon to marvel at all the losses the Newmans have suffered lately. After Nick calls Adam with an update, he rejoins Sharon and Noah, who are concerned about how he's coping. He admits there's a real chance he could backslide, thanks them for their support, and agrees to let them drop him off at AA for a meeting before he returns to the hospital. Getting back to Nikki, Nick hopes his parents have been gutted enough by this crisis to remind them that they belong together. At the park, Claire and Holden birdwatch. She explains that her grandma taught her all about them and sobs as she thinks of how her grandma may never see a blue jay again or her face. Holden reminds her that the doctor is the best and assures her that she and her grandmother will spend a lot more time looking at grackles. To cheer her up, he tells her he had to dress as a bird and hand out flyers while working for a fried chicken place. He hated it and went for a real estate job, but had to go to the interview in his bird costume because the zipper was stuck. Pics, please. Kane and Billy meet at the bar in the athletic club. They both received a mysterious text about Jill. They tried calling her and snap her for an explanation, but had no luck. Suddenly, Jill herself appears. After some shocked hugs, Jill sits them down and explains she needed to come back to face the craziness. Billy is shocked to hear that includes Kane taking over Chancellor again. Irate, Billy accuses them of wanting this outcome all along. He's appalled that everything always falls into his not brother's lap. After some bickering, Billy claims that he's moving on and refuses to get upset about this. He abruptly announces that he is getting married to Sally and they are having a baby. Kane immediately congratulates him. Billy insists this is what he wants, and he's letting go of the past. His mom eventually says she's happy for him. Billy resumes attacking Kane. They bicker until Jill bangs on the table and orders them to stop. The men don't stop. Billy complains. Kane accuses him of being jealous. Melancholy, Victor waits for Nikki in her hospital room. Clinging to the rings, she returned to him. He remembers their last wedding, but also the fight that made him throw her out. Stephanie joins him to announce that the surgery is going well. It's too soon to guess how the outcome. He says he will always be in her debt for making this happen. They chat about her history in Genoa City and how her son is dating his granddaughter. When Victoria joins them, a nurse pokes in to announce Nikki is out of surgery. Victoria immediately calls Nick and Claire to return. At the athletic club, Jill tries to end the argument between Billy and Kane. Her son thinks he's finally got to the truth and demands to know why he's not good enough to run Chancellor. The only way he will get over this is if she gives him an answer. Nick, Noah, and Claire join the family at the hospital. Nikki is wheeled in from surgery. Dr. Nottingham joins them and explains that the mass has been removed. After she regains consciousness, Nikki will be kept under observation. Stroking his wife's hair, Victor tells her they will get her through this. Billy Abbott paced the polished hospital floor, his footsteps echoing through the corridor like a ticking clock. His jaw was clenched, his fists tight at his sides. Every passing second only fueled the storm brewing inside him. Jill stood near the window, staring at the rain streaming down the glass. She had rehearsed this conversation 100 times, but now that Billy was standing just a few feet away, the words refused to come. Finally, Billy stopped pacing. Enough, he snapped. I've been lied to for weeks. I deserve the truth. Jill slowly turned to face him. I know. No, you don't know. His voice cracked with frustration. Nikki is about to undergo one of the riskiest surgeries imaginable, and somehow everyone thought keeping me in the dark was the best plan. It wasn't my decision alone. Billy laughed bitterly. Then whose was it? Jill hesitated. Nikki's. The answer hit Billy harder than he expected. He stared at Jill, searching her face for any sign that she was protecting someone else. She told me she didn't want you worrying until the doctors were certain surgery was the only option. Billy shook his head. That's not her choice to make. She was trying to protect you. I don't need protection. His voice softened. I needed honesty. A heavy silence settled between them. Inside the operating suite, Nikki Newman lay beneath brilliant surgical lights. Machines hummed steadily around her as nurses made final preparations. Dr. Elena Morgan reviewed the scans one last time. The procedure carried significant risks. The damaged artery near Nikki's heart was in an unusually difficult position. One wrong movement could trigger catastrophic bleeding. But without surgery, the prognosis was even worse. Nikki glanced toward the observation window, where Victor Newman stood silently. Their eyes met. Victor offered the smallest nod. For once, words weren't necessary. Back in the hallway, Billy continued questioning Jill. When did you find out? 3 weeks ago. Billy's eyes widened. 3 weeks. I wanted to tell you, but you didn't. I promised Nikki. Billy rubbed both hands across his face. This family. He muttered. Jill sighed. We all make impossible choices when someone we love is hurting. Billy leaned against the wall, exhaustion replacing anger. I'm scared. The admission surprised even him. Jill walked closer. So am I. The operating room doors swung shut. Dr. Morgan looked around the team. Anesthesiologist confirmed Nikki was fully asleep. The first incision was made. Outside, Victor remained motionless. Victoria arrived moments later, followed by Nick and Abby. The family gathered quietly, each carrying their own fear in silence. No one dared ask how long the operation would take. No one wanted to imagine what could happen if it failed. Billy noticed Victor standing alone. Against every instinct he walked over. How is she really? Victor answered without taking his eyes off the operating room. The surgeons say this is her best chance. Billy nodded. I should have been here sooner. Victor finally looked at him. Then be here now. Those 4 words carried more compassion than Billy expected. Hours passed. Coffee cups accumulated. Phones remained untouched. Every time the operating room light flickered, every heart skipped a beat. Inside, the surgery had become far more complicated than anticipated. Dr. Morgan frowned, pressures dropping. A nurse immediately adjusted the monitors. We've found another tear. The room grew tense. Additional instruments were requested. Every movement became slower, more deliberate. One mistake could end everything. Outside, Jill's phone rang. She answered quietly. What? Her expression instantly changed. Billy stepped closer. What happened? Jill lowered the phone. The hospital's blood bank needs additional compatible units. Billy didn't hesitate. Test me. So will I, Nick added. Victoria stepped forward. Me too. Within minutes, multiple family members volunteered to donate if needed. Even Victor rolled up his sleeve. No arguments. No rivalries. Only family. Back inside surgery, Dr. Morgan worked with incredible precision. Clamp. A nurse placed the instrument into her waiting hand. Suction. The bleeding slowly came under control. But Nikki's heartbeat suddenly became irregular. The monitor erupted in warning tones. She's crashing. The room exploded into coordinated action. Increase oxygen. Epinephrine ready. Starting cardiac support. Seconds felt like hours. Outside, the warning alarm briefly echoed through the hallway. Everyone stood. Billy's heart pounded. Victor closed his eyes. No one spoke. The alarm finally stopped, but the waiting continued. Another hour crawled by, then another. As dawn approached, the operating room doors finally opened. Dr. Morgan removed her surgical mask. Every family member rushed forward. Victor spoke first. "Doctor?" She smiled tiredly. The surgery was successful. The entire hallway seemed to exhale at once. Victoria burst into tears. Nick hugged Abby. Billy covered his face with both hands, overwhelmed with relief. Jill embraced him tightly. "But," Dr. Morgan continued, "the next 24 hours remain critical. Recovery won't be easy." Victor nodded. "It never is." Later that afternoon, Nikki slowly opened her eyes in intensive care. The room appeared blurry. Gradually, familiar faces came into focus. Victor sat beside her bed. He gently took her hand. "You gave us quite the scare." Nikki managed a faint smile. "I've never been very good at doing things halfway." Victor chuckled softly. "No." Billy entered quietly, uncertain whether he should interrupt. Nikki noticed him immediately. "You look terrible." Billy laughed through tears. "I've had better mornings." "I'm sorry." Billy moved closer. "For what?" "For shutting you out." He squeezed her hand carefully. "You don't ever have to carry something this big by yourself." "I know that now." Jill stood in the doorway, watching the exchange with quiet relief. Families often broke apart under pressure. Some found forgiveness instead. As evening sunlight filtered through the hospital window, hope slowly replaced fear. There would still be rehabilitation. There would still be painful days. There would still be difficult conversations. But Nikki had survived. Billy had finally received the answers he demanded. Jill had learned that protecting someone sometimes meant trusting others with the truth. And the family, fractured by secrets and old resentments, had rediscovered something stronger than pride. They had rediscovered each other. Outside the hospital, the rain had finally stopped. Golden sunlight broke through the clouds, casting warm light across the city streets. Inside Nikki's room, laughter quietly replaced silence. For the first time in weeks, the future no longer felt uncertain. It felt possible. And sometimes, after the darkest nights, possibility is the greatest miracle of all.